Who will tell us of the things of old, of the things of old and of the things that have been, of Baba Yaga, of that Baba Yaga, and of the 4 hunters, and of the strips of flesh? 4 friends, 4 companions, Pavel, Fedor, Vasily, and young Ivan, wandered the world together, hunting. One day they came to a dense forest. At the edge of it stood a small izba, a small hut, a hut miraculously turning and twirling upon the legs of a chicken. Immediately the 4 young men, little more than boys, full of youth and power, wanted to enter it, but that proved difficult, as there was but a single door and the hut was twirling about. Ivan, the youngest of the party, uttered words that he knew not where they came from. "Izbushka, Izbushka, stand with back to forest and front toward us." And the hut faced towards them, its doors and windows opened of its own accord. The heroes entered to find the chicken-legged hut empty. One of the party, Pavel, then remained indoors while the rest continued to chase game, as hunters do. He prepared the meal for the 4 of them with what he found in the hut, for he assumed the owner would not mind, and then, after washing his head, sat down by the window to comb his hair. Suddenly a stone lifted, and from under it appeared a Baba Yaga, driving in her mortar, with a dog yelping at her heels. She entered the hut and cried, "Pfui! I smell a Russian soul. None enter my izba without paying a heavy toll." Whereupon she seized her pestle and began to soundly beat young Pavel with it until he fell prostrate. She then tore his tunic from his back and cut a strip of his own flesh from his back, ate up the whole of the meal he had prepared for his companions, mounted her mortar, and disappeared with her yelping dog. After a time, the beaten Pavel recovered his senses. He covered the shame on his back, thankful that it wasn't his nose that was severed, tied up his head with a handkerchief, and sat groaning until his comrades returned. He made some sorts of excuses for not having any supper ready for them, but said nothing about what really had happened to him. He also declined to bathe in the bathhouse as the others did after hunting. On the next day, Fedor was treated in the same manner by the Baba Yaga, and also declined to bathe in the bathhouse after supper, as did Pavel. And on the 3rd day after that, Vasily underwent a similar humiliation. Vasily also avoided the bathhouse. But on the 4th day, it fell to the lot of the young Ivan to stay in the hut alone. The Baba Yaga appeared as usual and began to thump young Ivan with her pestle. But Ivan snatched the pestle from Baba Yaga and beat her almost to death with it. He then cut 3 strips of flesh from her own back and locked her in a closet, and then went about preparing a meal for his companions. When his comrades returned, they were surprised to find him unhurt and a meal prepared, but they asked no questions. After supper, Ivan went to the bathhouse, and the companions followed, and Ivan remarked as he saw their backs that each of his companions had had a strip cut from his back. This led to a full confession, on hearing which Ivan ran to the closet, took those strips of flesh from the Baba Yaga, applied them to their own backs, which immediately became healed. He then hung up the Baba Yaga by cord tied to one foot, at which cord all the party shot arrows. At length the cord was severed and she dropped. As soon as Baba Yaga touched the ground, she ran to the stone from under which she had appeared, lifted it, and disappeared. It was at the feast I heard this tale. There it was, I drank mead ale. Though it flowed down my beard, my mouth stayed dry, for never a drop passed my lips, swear I.